Now on UK Health Radio, treat yourself to an upgrade. Pack away your low self-esteem. Leave behind that empty feeling. Stow your fears and doubts in the overhead locker. And go from stress to authentic success with Danielle Sachs.
Hello to you and welcome once again to another show. And this week you are in for a treat because this show is called From Stress to Authentic Success. I just want to say to you, there's a huge reason for that, because you can hear that some weeks I'm talking more about stress, self-care, and some weeks I'm talking more about the authentic success. But from stress to authentic success, it is a journey. And both topics and everything in between is really interesting and so needed today, because I'm going to talk today mostly about the paradox of prosperity, about the facade of success, because we have to really see behind the surface that there is a true unhappiness going on in our modern society. In my book, Shifting Out of Chronic Stress, that I wrote 7-8 years ago, I illustrated that the number one fear, the number one stress in our society was the fear of not being good enough. And today it is no different, but there's another layer, because beyond the facade of success, beyond the facade of so many people living in prosperity, there is a really like a sort of mental non-well-being, a mental problem, because as the world is getting more and more advanced technically, money-wise, wealth-wise, we can eat any vegetable that in any season. We can buy cars. We can drive from here to another country easily. Wherever we are in the world, we know that although it seems that there is so much wealth of medicine, of techniques, of technologies to heal, to battle any disease, all these things, surprise, surprise, there is a number that is really, truly alarming, because the World Health Organization says that 1 in 4 of us is going to have a mental problem at some point in this modern society. And so how is it possible? How can this happen when we have all this progress, when we look in the last 10, 20 years? And it is really interesting to go and look and see and uncover the causes of that rising mental health disorder in this wealthy society. And why do you and so many around you feel like we're losing our minds, like we are feeling empty, disconnected from ourselves? And the answer is probably complicated, but I know one thing for sure, and that is that we need to figure out how to fix this. Because I see every single week in my practice people who are feeling absolutely depleted, exhausted, empty, disconnected from their true selves, living in their head. And if that speaks to you, I urge you to listen to some of my shows, and to certainly those that I give to you from my heart, that I don't do interview, but I'm really trying to put some inspiration, motivation, info, education into the world to help you, to inspire you and motivate you to do something about it if you feel like this. And I'm going to just uncover a few causes in this introduction on why it is that we mentally, emotionally, and physically are not feeling ourselves, are not having really a feeling of well-being. And one of the first things that I want to say is social comparison. It is toxic. We scroll through our social media feeds and we are bombarded with all sorts of images of perfection, perfect bodies, perfect lives, perfect relationships. I see it every week how people here compare themselves with what they see on all these Instagram, Facebook, everywhere where you look, it's there. It's like, and we can't help it. Let's be honest. We can't help it to actually compare ourselves to unrealistic standards. We're falling short. Of course we're falling short. I read somewhere that it is like trying to climb the Mount Everest in flip-flops. And I really believe that. It's not going to happen. That is not real life. That is not authentic. And so another reason is the lack of purpose. We often feel mentally totally lost because we feel we are pressured to do things that we don't actually want to do. We have so many shoulds. We should do this and we should do that. We often pursue a career or lifestyle that is not in alignment with who we are, with our values and our interests. It's like really making, I don't know. It can lead to a lack of direction or purpose in our lives. And that is what creating that feeling of emptiness and dissatisfaction. Also, in my time, I have lived that in my first life. There were everywhere high expectations. High expectations are also really to blame for how we feel. The more we pursue and we try to conform, to do what is expected of us, to really be someone in society because that is what others want us to do, that doesn't match with who we truly are on the inside often. And that's what gives us stress, burnout, chronic stress, burnout, losing touch with our inner selves, with our true purpose. So stop with having high expectations. I think it's Tony Robbins who says the more expectations you are, the more disappointed you are. And the more you're going to feel really empty and not even capable. You will not see your own potential because you have such high expectations and trying to live through to the expectations of society. Another one that I really think is, and it's a basic one, it's our human disconnection. We are, as humans, social animals by nature. We need to interact with others. It's in our DNA. But as technology has advanced, we found ourselves more and more disconnected than ever. And we can connect with more people than ever, but we feel more and more alone. Is that you? Feeling disconnected from yourself and from others? We spend hours on those devices scrolling through social media on any screen. And so a family of this true disconnection with others and with ourselves is when I go to a restaurant with my husband, whether it's in Belgium or in Spain or in France, wherever in Europe, wherever in the States, wherever in Asia, it's all similar. We go to a restaurant and we see a table with a family of 4 sitting there, each staring into their own screens instead of engaging with one another. In my time when we had our children, our younger, when the children were younger, there was no social media. And I can remember how much fun we had playing cards. The kids had a paper and had to color one of the designs to win a prize and things like that in a restaurant. Not sitting there staring each separately at another screen. So we miss the chance to really connect with each other and share meaningful moments. And so that leads to mental disconnection, to a mental non-well-being. And I think a very, very basic, important cause is the lack of self-care and balance. In our fast-paced world, let's see it really as it is. It is so easy to get caught up in our daily responsibilities and neglect our own well-being. We work long hours. Kids are long hours at school. You can say what you want, but we need to break that cycle. We need time, even little time, for leisure and relaxation. It is like trying to run a marathon with no training. There is no basic self-care. And we think that just drinking water and going to a yoga class is self-care. And I really believe, if you haven't listened to my show of last time on the difference between self-care and conscious self-care, please go to that episode and listen to it again, because there's a huge difference between the basic self-care and the conscious self-care. And I would say it's already a plus if you're doing basic self-care, but it is the conscious self-care that is the most important one. So it's really, really key to remember to take care of yourself. It is as important as to take care of your family, of your work, of your responsibilities. And when you neglect that conscious self-care, you lose touch with yourself, with your needs, with your emotions, with your thoughts. So that's where the stress starts and gets worse and worse and chronic and really depleting and exhausting. So let's say that maybe the biggest problem in our mental well-being is that we are disconnected from our own selves, from our authentic self. So we must take a time out and ponder how we are busy with ourselves each day. How are we thinking of ourselves, speaking to ourselves? We need to take the necessary action to reconnect with ourselves and our values. So in my upcoming shows, I'm sure we're going to delve into more methods to reconnect with ourselves. And even in this show, I might talk more about disconnection, because reconnecting with our true selves is what authentic success is all about. If we are going to be in alignment, our head and our heart in alignment, listening to who we are, to what we feel, what we need, what are our values, and live according to that, I promise you that authentic success will follow naturally. I'm going to have a little break just now and come back.
UK Health Radio, the station that makes you feel good. UK Health Radio, the station that makes you feel good.
Welcome back to each one of you. Thank you for listening in again. And as I was talking in the intro about the reality of our society feeling actually really unhappy while we have so much wealth and prosperity around us. And I'm not talking, of course, about the war in Ukraine and whatever has happened in Turkey and Syria. And of course, I light my candles. I've sent money to help these people. And I think about the misery in our world often. And my heart goes out to them. But in this show, I really want to talk about the mental health issues, the unhappiness, the emotional, physical, mental issues that we have because we are disconnected from our true selves and from others. And that to me is how you go from stress to authentic success, is exactly that. When you feel disconnected with yourself and others, and you are in a place that you want to change that, and you want to go to feel differently, to change your life, to better your life, to become the best version of yourself, then it is necessary to go and reconnect with yourself, with your authentic self, and with others. And so in this second part of the show, I'm going to talk about the importance of reconnecting with your true selves. Because think of reconnecting with your true self like it can be like finding a treasure map to your happiness and well-being. It is important to discover like a new sense of balance, inner peace, by taking the time to really understand and become aware of who you are, of your authentic self. And the word authentic, I love that word. It is such a truth for me. It's a real truth in my life that I live more and more each day to connect more and more with my authentic self. I listen to my own feelings, to my heart, to my intuition, and I encourage you to do the same. Totally free from social expectations, comparisons, and influences. That's what we talked about in the first part. And so you will be more in control and feel more in control of your thoughts and emotions and have a much clearer sense of direction and purpose. So in addition to what I'm talking about in this show, I'm going to give you a few benefits, why it is so essential to reconnect with yourself. What is in it for you? Well, first of all, imagine that you are feeling mentally, emotionally, and physically in balance, because reconnecting with your true self improves your total complex well-being. When we understand and become aware of our true selves, who we exactly are, behind the mask, behind the facade, we can improve our overall well-being and help us to really have that balance and inner peace and feel that inner strength as a human being, because it's our birthright to be exactly who we are. So as I say, imagine feeling in control of your thoughts and emotions. That's the first benefit. Instead of feeling overwhelmed by all your negative thoughts, anxious feelings, you can really observe those thoughts and emotions with a sense of detachment, we call it, allowing them to pass without making them affecting you, your overall state, your overall emotional state. And it will lead in decreasing your stress and anxiety. The same goes with understanding and regulating your physical sensations. I got ill because I never listened to the signals of my body. I was disconnected. I was living in my head, not knowing exactly what was going on in my body, ignoring the signals. But when we are in tune with our bodies, then you can better identify and address and all those discomforts and imbalances. And so you're going to have better sleep, increased energy levels, and even it can have an impact on your digestion, because believe me, when you are not connected with your body, your whole system is going to react. So for example, if you have a headache, instead of just reaching out for a painkiller or anything else in that matter that is a quick fix, you can take a moment to check in with your body. Am I dehydrated, we call it? Am I tense in my neck or in my shoulders? Just by going within and asking yourself the question, what has been going on in my life that makes my head like feeling to explode? There is a sense of this headache. So what is the reason? What is the sense behind this headache? It can really make a huge difference in your life. The same thing goes in connection with your mental well-being. Allowing yourself to see what go and have a deep understanding what is going on with my thoughts. How the self-awareness of what am I thinking? What words am I speaking to myself? For example, as I say, the inner dialogue is a huge, huge contributor to stress and to disease. When we are in tune with ourselves, you will notice when you are harsh on yourself, when you are critical on yourself. For example, when you make a mistake, and to go and recognize that thought pattern, those words that you say to yourself will give you and permit you to bring in self-compassion. When you are true to yourself, you are much more likely to make decisions that align with who you are, with your values. And all that together gives you a sense of fulfillment and satisfaction. So I really think it is essential to do that daily practice of reconnecting with yourself, of going within, whether it's in silence, whether you go and ask yourself questions, whether you take a journal and you go journaling, whatever it takes to connect with yourself. And we'll talk later about a few things that you can do to reconnect with yourself. But another benefit, and I think it's an important one because it has to do with authentic success, is that when you reconnect with your true self, you're going to find the treasure within yourself. You're going to find the passion, the values, the goals, the creativity, the ideas of what it is, how you can be in service to others, how you can contribute to a better world, how you can be excited again and go into the possibilities of what lies ahead to be that better version, that highest, truest expression of yourself. So another benefit is, and that is really a practical one, when you are more connected with yourself, you're going to make better decisions. As I just said, you're going to make better decisions because instead of just living in your head and making decisions with your head, you're going to make decisions with your heart, following your intuition. We tap into our passions, into our intuition, into, as I said, into our creativity, and it allows you to make decisions that are in alignment with your authentic self, looking for greater fulfillment and satisfaction in life. Is that not what you want? Fulfillment and satisfaction every single day in the way you are, in who you are? So it's like having a personal, call it GPS, that guides you through your north, your true north, helping you to make decisions that give you decisions with confidence, that give you the joy and the fulfillment that you so desire and deserve. Of course, when we are reconnected with ourselves, it gives us stronger relationships with others. Because when you are in tune with your true self, you understand much better who you are and what you want. And that self-awareness will allow you to communicate your needs, your emotions so much better with others. And of course, that leads to stronger and more meaningful, deeper relationships that make sense, that fulfill you, that you both feel in that both of you, the other person and you in that relationship, feel a deeper sense of fulfillment, a deeper love, a deeper compassion, because you're talking from heart to heart. And I mean heart, not with a D, but Heart. So, nice to have stronger relationships with your other people, with your environment, with your family, with your friends, with your spouse, whoever it is. But the biggest one for me is that you're going to have such a great relationship with yourself. So that benefit of reconnecting with yourself will give you a greater self-compassion for yourself. It's like a warm hug for your own soul. Can you see that? Can you feel that when I say that? Reconnecting with yourself can be like a warm hug to your own soul. Wow. So I know from my practice and in my own life and my own story that when I was disconnected with myself, I didn't even know my strengths, my weaknesses. I didn't even know what I really wanted in life. I was really harsh and critical with myself. So by reconnecting, you can really develop a beautiful self-awareness and self-compassion. And maybe I can illustrate it to you with a story that happened in my practice. One of my clients, let's name him John, felt really, really discouraged a lot, really never meeting his personal goals, always being disappointed. And he realized in our journey together how critical his inner dialogue was. His constant self-criticism was really preventing him every single day from enjoying the process of his life with his family, in his business. And so by taking the time to reconnect with himself, he learned, and I promise you he did, he learned to appreciate the journey and to also live in the present moment rather than constantly focusing of the past and the future, what he needed to do, what was expected from him to do. He became so much more accepting of his own progress day by day. He is so much more kinder to himself. Up until today, his life has changed so much. And just from the break, how do you say that? How to stop the criticism on himself, to stop that negative inner dialogue and change it into a cheerleader. And in one of my other shows a few weeks ago, I talked about that, about the mind, how our inner mind, how inner dialogue can be either our biggest enemy or our biggest cheerleader. That's what happened with John. His inner dialogue was his biggest critic, was his enemy, and we changed that. And that shift in mindset can really, really lead to the most positive and fulfilling experience. And that's how you go from stress to authentic success, by being more in touch with yourself, by being more aware of what is going on within. That leads us actually to a benefit of that authenticity, a sense of authenticity. It makes you feel so much more powerful and authentic, because when you reconnect with yourself and you go within and learn to know exactly who you are, you tap into a deep, deep wellspring of inner guidance. And that is what leads us to authenticity, to the path of authenticity, to the journey of authentic success. Living in an authentic way means that we live true to our values, true to our beliefs, and what we believe of ourselves and life is important. Rather than trying to fit into somebody else's mold. And that's what we do in this society, in this modern society with all the social media. Instead of staying onto our own path, we compare and we try to be like someone else. Reconnecting with yourself is necessary to go onto that path of authenticity. When you are true to yourself, once again, you will become so much more resilient and less affected by the outside world, by the external circumstances, because you stay rooted in your inner truth. Let me say that again. You will become so much more resilient and so much less affected by the outside world and the external circumstances, because we are rooted. You will be rooted in your own truth. Isn't that the most exciting thing? Imagine having the courage to be yourself in every single situation, following your own path, your own passion, your own dream with conviction, and living a life that is totally true to your inner compass, to your inner world, your inner guidance, because you are guided. When you are authentic, you can feel how you are guided. And that is the power of reconnecting with your true self. It is so empowering to live a more authentic life because it gives you more meaning and more fulfillment. And as you can hear, I am so full of this. Authenticity is just one of my biggest secrets that has changed my life completely. To go from stress to authentic success, first you need to tackle the stress, know exactly what is going on, because you're living in your head and you are disconnected in the beginning. People come here the first time, or I have them in Zoom when they are international people, and I talk to them and they can see and feel when I make a few drawings and I let them see what I hear in their situation, in their communication. I show them how they are living in their head on autopilot, living by the expectations of the outside world, trying to help and please every single one out there. Instead of connecting with themselves, they are totally disconnected from who they are. And so if you are feeling that way, I advise you, I encourage you, go to my website, daniellesachs.com, whatever, go and send me an email, danielle@daniellesachs.com. Do something about this, because you can get out and break free of this vicious cycle. I've been there. I know you can. So the benefits are amazing of connecting to your true self. And I can add a few more, like better ability to cope with stress. We saw that, of course, when you are disconnected, as I just illustrated. Stress can really be so bad, like a constant storm within you. Some people really feel so depleted, so exhausted. And reconnecting with yourself, that's when you're going to find the calm in the midst of the storm. So going and find out what is causing the stress and how you can avoid it, how you can step out of it, is a huge thing. The more you are connected with yourself, the greater your resilience will be. As I said, it is that inner strength that is going to allow you to bounce back from any challenge and overcome any obstacles. I've been there and I see it in my clients every single day. It is so powerful. It is such a powerful tool, a strategy that helps you to manage any stress and to create that fulfilling life, that feeling of being alive, fully alive, and really experience that freedom, that full expression of yourself. It is so beautiful. And so I'm just going to end with this part of the show with the basic information and inspiration that I want to give you in this show, is that if you want to transform your life, you need to start reconnecting with your authentic self, because it is the most transformative and enlightening experience there is. If you go from stress to authentic success, it is going to improve every single area of your life, your overall well-being. It will enhance your ability to make decisions, to create beautiful, healthy relationships, to cultivate self-compassion, resilience, to be that authentic person that you are meant to be. And so you will regain a renewed balance, a sense of inner peace that you have never felt before. And if we are ready to embark on this journey, as I said, just give me a sign. Just connect with me through the website or send me an email. I'm here always to help you, to inspire you, and to motivate you. I will be back just now after this little break.
UK Health Radio, the station that makes you feel good. UK Health Radio, the station that makes you feel good.
Welcome to part 3 of this special episode, because it's all about our happiness in our society and how we are disconnected from ourselves and from others, of course. Now, there's a lot of techniques and methods to reconnect with yourself, of course. You can imagine that there is so much out there. And even then, we are still not connected with ourselves and with others. Isn't that amazing? In our society, there have never been so many cures, so many healing techniques and mindfulness and meditations and apps and everything to really help you. And still in our society, we are so disconnected from ourselves and from others. And so it's one of my goals in life. It's actually my mission and passion to make people aware of how important it is to be authentic, to really be your true self, to stop the masks, the facades, the superficial, and to really go within and experience a deep, deep connection with life, with your essence, with who you are. And so I really am going to just give you a few methods that I use myself in my life. Because there's so many things out there, and I just want to give a few. And the first one I want to give you is, of course, the self-reflection. Self-reflection, as I mentioned in this show, practicing things like journaling, like going for help with a therapist who can help you self-reflect, like self-inquiry. It's all contributing to a powerful way, delving deeper into your own thoughts, emotions, and experiences. By reflecting of all the aspects of yourself, of your thoughts, your actions, your reactions, you can gain a deeper understanding of yourself and identify all the patterns of negative thinking or negative behavior or addictions, whatever it may be, that may be holding you back to be that best version, to be that highest expression of who you are. And they call journaling like a mental spa for your brain. And I really, really like that. And I'm for one, a really big fan of journaling. And I have a gratitude journal and another journal, a logical journal an emotional journal, where I put my emotions on paper. And I have a gratitude journal where I put like 5 or 10 things a day, every single day, in a journal where I express my gratitude for the little things in my life, for the big things in my life, for the things that have not happened yet in my life that I'm grateful for. And it really, really has a huge difference in energy for me. I feel the difference in my life since I do this. And I see in the results of my life, I see what an effect it has had in everything that I am and becoming. So I can only advise you. The same with therapy, coaching, whatever you do, mentoring, training, developing yourself, doing courses, whatever it is that can help you to actually develop yourself, to self-reflect on who you are and who you want to be. It's self-inquiry can be very, very interesting because it's like RTT. I do RTT with my clients, a form of hypnosis, much more than hypnosis, but it is a form of being a private detective, going to explore and discover the root causes of your behavior, your thought patterns, everything. And so uncover new aspects of yourself, install and program new realities. It can be so interesting. And now, of course, one of the best methods that I find in reconnecting with yourself is, of course, your daily conscious self-care practice. And I often talk about it, but it's not just the exercise, the healthy eating. It's not just the sleep and the drinking the water, but all those basics can help you with your physical and emotional well-being. But it's also about the energy, your energy input and output to create a balance between your morning routines and your evening routines, all these things. So it's so much more than just exercising and having a healthy diet, but it has a huge impact. And I call it a part of conscious self-care, but one thing that I have used to reconnect with myself is starting to set boundaries, to say no to others and yes to myself. You can go to my website and download the ebook, How to Say No to Others and Yes to Yourself. It is actually really a short, beautiful, powerful little ebook that you can download for free. And it gives you already that first steps on how to set boundaries, because I know so many of you out there, and probably if you recognize yourself in this, if you have difficulty in saying no to others, feeling guilty when you do something for yourself, then I really advise you to go to the website and download the ebook, because it's going to give you a good idea on what you need to do first in the setting boundaries journey, because it is a journey, it is a process. We as sensitive people who always try to help, please, and others, it can be really a challenge to set boundaries, but they do help you to establish that healthy relationship with yourself, to really give you that inner power, that inner strength, that inner value, that self-value that you need to actually really go to authentic success. So it is really listening to your own needs and respect your own boundaries, and also respect the other person's boundaries. It goes both ways. When you set boundaries towards others, you give others permission to set boundaries towards you. And so setting boundaries, prioritizing your own needs is a crucial step in reconnecting with yourself. Now, one of the last things that I want to say in this episode, one of the last methods really, is to practice self-compassion. Because to me, practicing self-compassion is like a warm bath for the soul. We talked about that bath for the soul, but I really want to say that because practicing self-compassion is really one of those things that we have never learned at school. We have never learned in our education. We are always there. We have been criticized from when we were small. So we are always there to judge ourselves. And we need to start feeling more compassion for ourselves. So imagine talking to yourself with kindness, with understanding, just as you would to your best friend. Or that you are writing in your journal with empathy and understanding towards yourself when you read what has been going on in your life. All these practices can help reduce your negative self-talk. Remember, we talked about the inner dialogue. Instead of being your enemy, being your cheerleader, well, it's the same. It's going to increase your self-acceptance. And I think that is one of the biggest secrets actually towards authentic success, is to hire your self-value, your self-belief, your self-image. It is such a basic ingredient for an authentic life and really for your journey towards authentic success. And just to conclude everything here, there are so much more, of course, methods and techniques to reconnect with yourself. There's trauma healing. There's so much more like meditation, mindfulness practice, connecting with nature, creativity, engaging in creative activities. Of course, all these things. But I just want to tell you that reconnecting with yourself is actually a really intense personal journey. So finding your way back to yourself, it is a beautiful ongoing journey, and it requires as much patience as it requires consistency. So there are so many parts to take, and it's not my job to tell you what is right for you, but I've offered you a few basic ingredients, a few basic strategies that you can use from today. And so I really hope that my examples, my journey, this exposition of what disconnection is all about and how we can reconnect to ourselves and also reconnect to others and live a more meaningful and fulfilling life. I trust that you are inspired to take that first step. If you need me anyway, in any way, you can connect with me. There's so many ways to find me, and I will see you next week. Bye-bye for now.
From Stress to Authentic Success was presented by Danielle Sachs. Join Danielle at the same time next week here on UK Health Radio. And meanwhile, for more on how to thrive in business and everyday life by being true to yourself, go to Danielle